Oh, well. Hi, everybody. I'm Kristen Voss, and this week for National Family Caregiver Month, I'm in Milwaukee County at Wehr Nature Center, and I've been with a group of folks that are family caregivers themselves and or professionals that work with family caregivers. And this week's theme is social time with friends and family. So we decided to have some social time here at the Nature Center. Weather didn't want to really cooperate with us, so we didn't get as much social time outside as we wanted, but we got tons of social time inside, and so it was a really great experience. And right now I've got a few people who participated, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to do a little recap of what we thought the conversation was like.
Hi, I'm Kayla Stunke, Caregiver Support Coordinator with Milwaukee County Aging and Disability Services.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Ivy McKee. I'm a family caregiver. Hi, I'm Migdalia. I'm a caregiver super specialist and I'm a caregiver of my sister.
Excellent. Thanks so much, ladies. So we're going to put it like this, and then we're going to lean in. Now, okay? Can we both all lean in? Thanks. And we're going to just talk among ourselves a little bit. And I'm just curious to what you guys got out of the conversation that we had today. So we talked about how family caregivers have these unmet needs. And there's 4 that we identified from a survey across the state of Wisconsin last year. The first one was free time. Last week, we talked about paid respite. And this time we talked about social time and spending time with family and friends. As you can hear, we still have participants that are having social time together. So you're getting a little bit of background noise, but I think that's okay. It's just showing how much fun we all had. And so we talked a lot about our experiences as family caregivers, but also what we thought social time meant or how it's hard for us. What did you guys take away from the conversation we had today?
I think that something I took away was we really framed the conversation around social time and accessing social time, but it seemed that before that could be possible, our family caregivers were looking for like restorative self-care time. So it was almost as though like until we build space for that, the idea of adding socialization maybe is hard to conceptualize.
Right. So I think what I want to put in context for everybody, and again, I know there's a lot of background noise, but I think that's really helpful for us to feel like this is a real experience and we're actually live streaming. And so what Kayla means by having to have that restorative time is it was really clear that the people who came together today needed time to just be witnessed, to just be able to talk about where they were and where they are in their own experience of caregiving. And I kind of expected a little of that, but I wasn't sure that it was going to be to this degree. So it was awesome to watch people be so vulnerable and open up and share some very personal stories. How about the other 2? What did you guys think?
Social time is important to participate in activities like this one. Today we are celebrating the caregiver month. Some caregivers are active participating. They have fun. They share their story with us, and it's very important to get the moment to have a social time with professionals and other caregivers.
I think it's also really cool how someone in the group was talking about your class. You teach powerful tools for caregivers, right?
That's correct.
She referenced that a couple times, and that seems like a place where there's probably some social opportunities. Can you speak to what that class is like and how that works?
Yeah, the powerful tool for caregiver is to help the caregiver to take care of themselves. Also, you can Google powerful tools for caregivers because it's a course that doesn't matter where you are. Iowa, the University of Iowa is presented that course in Spanish and English with professionals around the nations. I just encourage you to sign it, to register in Milwaukee County. We are going to present the powerful tools in 2026, January 15, 2026. And it's going to be virtual, it's going to be in Spanish, but the next one is going to be in person and it's going to be at the 1230 West Cherry Street. We don't have the date, but it's going to be around the springtime. And we are encouraging everybody to sign it, to register, and to have the opportunity to take care of themselves. The powerful tools for caregivers is to help you to reduce the stress and also is providing the opportunity to meet other caregivers.
Exactly, whether you're virtual or in person.
That's correct.
Awesome. Ivy, how about you? What kind of takeaway?
Exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting.
I think just the power of storytelling. We spent a lot of time sharing our stories, and I think it was a good way to get to know people, and also a good way to see the commonalities. We all have different experiences and identities and circumstances, and are caring for people with different diagnoses. But there's a lot of themes and things that came up in more than one person's story, which felt really reassuring and connecting.
Yeah, and validating, right? That like we're not alone, even though sometimes we feel like we're alone, even when we're in a room full of other caregivers or we're in a room with our care recipients. So, okay, that's a great point. What would you guys suggest about? That's not really the question I want to ask. Okay, I think what I'd like is for us to just kind of talk for a moment about because the group didn't necessarily want to engage in what social time is. And we actually heard people talk more about what I would describe as free time and self-care, because they talked about needing to breathe, needing to pray, needing to go on walks. So they were very singular activities. And I thought that's really telling that at this point in time, these particular group of caregivers kind of needed that space for themselves. And that's what they were hearing social time was. But I thought we were going to have a different kind of conversation. So I'm curious if you hear social time now, or you want people who are watching this to think about social time, what would you suggest, or what resonates with you?
I think creating containers for social time that people are able to access. I know being here, there was a lot of kind of explicit talk about how they've been trying to create inclusive places for families who have different needs and relationships and layers. And I think if there were more spaces like that, it could open up the opportunities for caregivers to find social time.
When you say they were talking about this here, do you mean here at the Wehr Nature Center?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to speak to, since they didn't get to hear that, do you remember what she was talking about? It was Emily, right? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emily was just talking about different efforts they've put to make sure that the space physically is very accessible, and also kind of training and knowledge building amongst staff to also make sure that they can respond and hear and predict what the community might need.
Yeah, and I thought it was so cool, all the different groups that they have, right? So they have a group coming in just a few minutes that are people, it's the Spark group, right? And so that's people that are mild to moderate memory loss and their caregivers. And then she also has one with young adults that have disabilities and their caregivers. And I was thinking that's a great place for us to come in and support the caregivers, right?
Yeah.
So as we hear about, or as people are recognizing and coming across the care recipient group, like memberships and social opportunities, we can keep coming around and support the family caregivers that are there as well. Cool. That's a great point. When I read about, when I was driving here, I was like, let's just do a quick search on what does AI think about what social time is? And it gave me an answer, of course, because AI does. And it essentially talked about the need for social time and what social time offers us as people. Did any of that resonate with you when I read it, or do you want to speak to that at all? Otherwise, I can.
Yeah, well, and I think too, coming at this as someone who works to provide supports and spaces for family caregivers, that was really clear today how important that is, and also how much I need to work to create intentional spaces where family caregivers can come, possibly with their loved ones, spend time with each other, have spaces that are very open. So I feel like our systems really have an obligation to create those spaces now that we know how hard it can be for caregivers to carve out social time.
Yep, and I think it's great that you recognize too that there has to be either respite or the care recipient has to also be part of that social activity, which I think could actually be really cool and really fun. And this is a great place to host that kind of thing because they're so open to it. So yeah, and I just want to recap for the audience why we need social time is because there really truly is an epidemic of isolation and loneliness, and family caregivers and care recipients are oftentimes the people that are experiencing that because it becomes so difficult literally to leave the room, right? So we find places like this that are so intentional about making it not just that you can come here, but that you want to come here and you feel wanted once you're here. That was what Emily said, and I loved that. But it's hard for us to find those places. They're slowly getting built and developed, but really a lot of us spend a lot of time in our own homes or in doctor's offices or therapy centers. And so it's important for us to recognize that even though social time might feel like another thing we have to do, it's an opportunity for us to be with people that can help us promote our own personal growth, help us feel loved, cared for, attended to, and just give us an opportunity to maybe laugh a little bit, which doesn't always happen in the family caregiver role. So I thought it was a really interesting and fun opportunity to be here today. I really met some interesting, fascinating, outgoing people. I loved bearing witness to a lot of their stories. I appreciate you guys that are doing the work. Any final words?
Just take the opportunity to visit new places. This is my first time at this place and I really enjoyed it. I'm so glad that I gave the opportunity to myself to discover new things and new places. And I met new people. I met her.
And we met each other. Yes, exactly. Anything else, guys? It's okay if you don't.
No, good. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yes,
for
yes,
presenting.
yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
I
Bye
will-
now.
I will see you all next week from Starbucks when I get an opportunity to talk with some of my closest besties that are family caregivers as well. And we're going to chat a little bit about how do we ask for help? We need to do it. And so we got to talk about how do we do it and what can we do to support one another. Take care. Happy National Family Caregiver Month.
Coffee.
Yay.
Great job, Kristen.
Well, thanks.